Alright, welcome to episode 1 of Divine Messenger Movie Edition. Today's movie we will be reviewing is a movie called Race to Witch Mountain, which was released in 2009 from the director Andy Fickman. Now, this movie is a Disney movie, and it is about basically these two twins, a sister and a brother, with special powers come to Earth. Well, actually, they crash into Earth with this UFO. And so basically the entire film is about them going back to their UFO and going back to their planet. Now, the movie begins with a very interesting scene of UFOs spotted and feedback and all that stuff from around the planet. And so from there, I think the first scene is the UFO crashing into Earth. From there, you see these government officials basically talking about what just happened, and so they go out and go see the UFO. Now, one significant thing that they find when they are investigating the UFO landing area is that they find footprints, which seems to look like human footprints or footprints of someone's shoes, indicating that the beings that were flying these UFOs were probably human beings or human-like figurines. Now, from this scene, we jump back to Jack Bruno, and so he's a cab driver. So he goes back to his shop, but once he gets into his car, he sees these two children in his back seat, which makes him a little hostile and curious, like, what's going on? Why are you in my seat? And so they just ask him to take him to this destination, and they have a large lump sum of money. And so he just says, sure, why not? And takes the money, and he takes them to the destination that they gave him, which was a little weird because they were just two children. Now, while they are on their way to this destination that they gave Jack Bruno, the U.S. government officials, or Secret Service agents, whatever you want to call them, ended up finding them, and they started to follow the taxi cab. And at this scene, you start to see that these children are not regular children, and that they hold very interesting and extraordinary powers. For example, the little boy, he can go through, he is able to shapeshift and go through solid objects, but he is also able to withstand solid objects, which is going to be a very important point at the end of this review when I explain the teachings, how this relates to the teachings of the Most Honorable Ashmana. Now, once they get past the government officials, they go to the destination in which they gave Jack Bruno, and so it happens to be this abandoned home. But inside this abandoned home, underneath it, holds this little layer of eggs. I don't know what they are exactly. There was no explanation given as to what they were really. Once they get there, they're met with this being. Its only job is to kill them because it does not want them to pretty much complete their mission. It is for a different cause back in their world than what they're basically there for. Now, at this point, the taxi cab company knows, well, the government has already tracked his taxi, and so they already know that he is with the children. They found him, they know who he is, they know who the children is, and so they're hot right now. So they do this stop at this restaurant. Sarah explains to Jack Bruno her power or her ability of telekinesis. She can read minds, and she can also influence people to think things, I believe. And she can move things with her mind as well. I don't think this is shown in this scene, but it is later in the movie. So that's her ability. Now, like I said, they're pretty hot right now because they got the government officials after them. And so after that scene of them being at the restaurant, they had to hurry up and leave because they already got found. Now, from there, they drive back to Las Vegas to meet this scientist by the name of Alex Friedman, Dr. Alex Friedman, and she studies the probability of there possibly being other life forms on different planets. Now, she kind of struggles. Right now, once we get to their scene, she's at a UFO convention, but no one really is interested in what she has to say. And so, Jack Bruno actually met her earlier in the movie, and that's the only person he can think of for help in what it is that he's doing, because he has no clue as to what he's supposed to do with these two extraterrestrial human beings on his planet, and he's responsible for them because they're children now. Now, once he goes to her and he finds her, he discovers that the children explain to her where they came from, their abilities, and what's their mission, basically. And so from there, Dr. Alex Friedman, she was already on jump. She was ready to join the team. She said she was born for this. She's been wanting to do something like this for her whole life. And so she decides to join the team. And again, they have to leave because the government officials find him again. And so from here, they travel with the map from another person at the UFO convention. They go on the journey to go look for their spaceship in order to get back to the home land and stop invading. They need a spaceship. Something happens between them finding, actually it's called Witch Mountain. The place that they need to go to is called Witch Mountain. It doesn't even look like it's a laboratory or whatever, but that's what the government do. They hide things in hidden places to make it seem oblivious. And so they go to Witch Mountain, and then the government officials, I guess, they find them. And so they take the children and they send the scientist and Jack Bruno off and tell them to forget about everything that happens and keep it moving. But of course, Jack Bruno being Jack Bruno, he can't just do that. So he decides to go after the children, him and Alex, Dr. Alex. They get the UFO, and then they fly out, and then at the end, Seth and Sarah say their goodbyes to Jack Bruno and Alex Friedman, thanking them for all of their help, blah, 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 blah. But a particular scene that stood out was Sarah. Last time she spoke to Jack Bruno, she just touched his head, and she spoke to him without even opening her mouth. You're a good man, Jack. I'll always be with you, or I miss you, or something like that. And that's very important too for this next portion of this video. So remember that right there. And so that's basically the end of the movie. Now, this part is where we explain the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and how it relates to the film, and how you can find the teachings in this film. Now, at the beginning of this film, you remember the government officials finding footprints that look like they could be shoes from human beings. Now, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches of the mother plane. The mother plane is a wheel, or otherwise known as the New Jerusalem. She jerked herself out. And it is half a mile by half a mile, and it is flown by Master Fard Muhammad and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in space. Now, this wheel contains baby planes, approximately 1,500, actually exactly 1,500 baby planes. And so these baby planes, their single purpose is to destroy America and destroy this world, pretty much. The government knows this. Actually, let me find it. 1942, the government actually raided the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If you want to find out more about that, I have a video right here, or I can put the link in my bio. And so that's where they got this information of the mother plane and the baby planes and the wheels and all that. Because before then, they didn't know about no baby planes. They probably seen them, but they didn't know the history or the exact facts on their knowledge or their existence. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the people who fly these UFOs are, in fact, human beings. And so actually, I don't have the exact date on me right now, but government actually got a UFO. It was pretty much like a token from Master Fard Muhammad. Here you go. Guys, stop being curious. Show you guys what we got up here so y'all don't play no games with us. So, they found that it was in fact a human being. Not just an ordinary human being, but a black man was flying this plane, and I wasn't thought. But they did the testings or whatever with him, and they also found that he had absolutely no sign of damages on his body, as in the impact or anything that could have punctured him, and every time they tried to puncture him, it just wouldn't penetrate at all. His skin was irresistible. Now that kind of makes you think back to Seth and how nothing can penetrate him. They are impenetrable because of their diets, because of their mindsets, because of their relationships with God. Man, they're actually called angels. There's some very amazing people And I'd love to meet one day. Probably would cry. But yeah. And also, as far as Sarah being telepathic, it's basically the Most High Elijah Muhammad also teaches that they will never be able, that the U.S. government will never be able to hit these UFOs because they know what is in the people's, or the, yeah, whoever's trying to get them, their minds already before they even try to take that action. So they already know. They can read minds. They're telepathic, basically. So Seth and Sarah, I should say, are basically, it basically shows the world that they know the teachings of the Most High Elijah, and they know for a fact that this is where they got it from. Because ain't nobody on this, they've been new. All these aliens movies are a little weird, and they try to throw everybody off with them, but they know that these baby planes are real, and they know who flies them and who's on the wheel. I hope this video made sense. I'm going to try and list all of my references below. And so, yeah, this is just episode 1, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Inshallah, next week I'm going to have another video. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. But recommend me a movie in the comments. Maybe I'll watch it, because I just really want to do this movie because I loved it, and it's supposed to be a kid's film, but not really. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Crease it, and then you would open your hand, or you would lay it down, and it would flow like water. It would just smooth right out. One of the